Welcome to the Pop Tower Podcast with your host, the man behind the myth, Peter Dawson, and the Soulful Lordy, James Bullock.
Hey, James.
What's up, Peter?
I think something's wrong.
I do feel a little strange, I must admit.
You could say everything's been turned upside down. I'm Peter W. Dawson.
And I'm James Bullock.
And this is the Pop Tower. And yes, as you might infer, we're going to talk about Stranger Things. It's about time. Which I'm sure is how most people felt about when Season 3 finally came out.
Oh, yeah. Well, not really. I was surprised it came out so quickly, honestly. I was thinking 2020.
That's true. Yeah, but it was over a year.
But, I mean, coming off of that, I was thinking, like, coming off of Season 2, they want to give it a little bit of breathing room. No, they rode the momentum, and they're keeping this thing going.
Yeah, that's true.
Because aren't they supposed to start, like, filming Season 4, like, October?
Something like that.
Yeah.
There's a popular theory that what's going to happen is it's going to be set right around the time when Chernobyl happens. Which makes a lot of sense when we dive into this season.
So now we're going to have a mixed promotion now with Chernobyl from HBO and Stranger Things.
That's true, because we never did an episode on that.
I know. That's probably something we would definitely talk about in the year-end wrap-up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, because that show was phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my God. But talking about Stranger Things, which is also a show I love, and I'm happy to say I quite enjoyed this season.
Yeah.
Did have a couple of issues which we'll get into, but no, in general, this did what I expected from Stranger Things, which is they managed to do a pretty good 8-episode slow burn mystery, but opened with a very interesting hook.
Yeah.
In that the first episode, the frickin' Russians show up, and it's like, oh, this is going to be part of the major plot for this season. Interesting. Which fits, because they talk about a lot of Red Scare type movies.
Yeah, and I mean, we're in the heart of the Cold War, and just that overall fear of, oh my goodness, the Russians are coming at any point in time. And who would have thought they would be coming through this mystical world that nobody knows about but a certain few people? Yeah,
well, like, when did Reagan make his, what is it, Axis of Evil or comment or whatever?
I can't remember exactly when, but like you said, this is around that time. I know it was like the early to mid-'80s.
Yeah, because, this was 85.
This is 85, right.
Yeah, this is after he got reelected.
They actually start the story in 84. So it's like right around this time.
Yeah, right when Reagan was getting reelected, so. Yeah, because of course he very famously was like, dialed up aggression with Russia again, which is why Russia was suddenly a thing again in the 80s.
Right.
And I'm not going to comment on today at all. we got a whole show to talk about. So, as we learn that something sinister is once again brewing in Hawkins, and it might have something to do with those quirky Ruskies, we get the kids just kind of being kids, which is very refreshing.
Not only just being kids now, no, they're preteens now. They are.
Oh, they are teens, my
are
friend.
Just raging.
They are all going through puberty, and it is awkward as hell.
It's funny because, like, except for one kid in the whole group, I'll just spoil right now, is Will. Who's still kind of like latched onto that childlike mentality. And now I'm like starting to wonder, and it's something they never really touched on, which I'm wondering, like, was he stunted at one point, just mentally and even physically, because of what he went through the first 2 seasons?
He absolutely was. Because there's this common theory, and it may be true to a degree. I don't know how true it is, but that if you experience trauma, your mental state kind of locks it in to when you experienced it. So
right.
Try to go back to before. So, like, Will experienced trauma when he was, 11, 12?
Right, because, I mean, the first season, they were still adolescents at this time. So, like, when he first experienced it, like, he says around, like, 10 or 11, and then even going back with his family issues.
Yeah. So, he very much, the guy who's gone through trauma 2 seasons in a row, just wants to have a normal life, just wants to play D&D.
Right.
And nothing can work, because Mike and Eleven are just constantly going off to make out.
Yes.
which is really annoying. Dustin just got back from summer camp, and we'll get into his subplot more later because I gotta go for the whole thing on that.
Oh yeah, we gotta spoil that one.
Yeah, and then Lucas and Max are going through. Oh, we're dating. Oh, we're not. Oh, we're dating. Oh, we're not.
And it's a teenage relationship if there ever was one.
Yeah, which is fine. The only problem is because Max gets so much focus in her blossoming relationship with 11 as friends, is they basically fully become BFFs this season. It kind of screws over Lucas to a degree.
Yeah, because Lucas becomes this. At first, it's like you thinking that he's going to be a real big focal point in this transformation because he's trying to also help Mike. He's also trying to help the fact that 11 and Mike are having these relationship issues, so he's trying to like step up, like I'm a big man, but that's only used for certain situations instead of him actually having moments where his own relationship is the forefront. And it just never happens until like the very beginning and the very end. And even at the very end, it's like really not that big of a deal. It's just like a running gag that becomes it becomes at the end of the story.
Lucas still gets a few moments to shine though, and I do appreciate that.
Yeah, but he was really a background character this season, which is unfortunate.
Well, even like Will had a few major focus moments, but he was ultimately kind of background too.
Yeah, it's really weird because especially the way the season started off. He really wasn't that important, especially when you consider there's a big twist in regards to 11 and what she can do. And it really has no influence with Mike compared to what we expected him, especially if you connected like to the first 2 seasons and how his emotional connection to her kind of helped in certain situations. I'm not going to spoil too much. But
no, we're probably going to spoil the first episode and talk
at
about
least the
some
first
of
half, the first half of the season.
Yeah, I'm trying to avoid too much, but
yeah.
Meanwhile, some of our favorite characters, oh boy, did they get more to do.
Yeah. Oh, you mean just argue constantly?
Well, yeah, first of all, Joyce and Hopper are once again in a, I don't think we're going to date. Oh, but maybe we should date. I don't think we're going to date. And then they get caught up because Joyce has found a new thing to obsess over.
Right.
Season 1, it's like, what about the lights? Look, my son controls the lights. Season 2, it's, look at the drawings. Look at my son's drawings.
But
Season
at least,
3,
like, those two, I could give her credit for. Because it was like, the first season, okay, my son's disappeared. Of course I'm going to be obsessed with every little thing that's going on. The second season, my son is not acting right anymore after he came back from disappearing.
Yeah.
Third
season 3, she goes with full insane clown
don't
costume.
work.
Yeah.
And he's not
Magnets, how do they work?
It's not like her son's having like any reactions to it. It's not like he's around when it happens. It's just like, oh my goodness, magnets are falling off of the refrigerator now. Something's going on. My son is in danger. I must abandon ship.
I know, it's just... And of course, she turns to our old friend in his one episode appearance, Scott Clark.
Why did he not show up more?
I have a theory about this because a certain character who was also kind of a comedy character got way more to do this season.
Okay, yeah.
I think they wanted to play back some of the other comedy characters.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like
he wasn't really that big of a deal to the second half though. If I'm thinking about the characters you're talking about.
Oh no, this is what I'm saying. Like
they could have still had him when they were in town.
Yeah, but I think between where they planned to go, they were worried they wouldn't have a good way to pull him out of the action.
Okay, yeah, that's true.
That's probably what happened.
Say like he was running the festival or something. He couldn't just back out.
I know that. Yeah, it was a shame we only saw him in the one episode.
Yeah.
But, oh man, his one appearance was fantastic.
It was really great. We also had we had a single appearance of our favorite would-be stepfather in the first episode too. Bob.
Yes, we did.
Bob.
Oh, that's right. Oh, rest in peace.
I know, it was such a magical moment. Like,
don't have a name that starts with B in this show. Like a couple of people had bad things happen to them whose names didn't start with B. I don't want to spoil it, because both those happened pretty late in the season, but still. But okay, so yeah, basically Hopper is trying to deal with having a hormonal daughter, and he's of course overreacting because he's clearly still suffering for the fact that his daughter died, and what doesn't get brought up so often is he was a Nam vet as well.
Mm-hmm.
So he's probably got some war issues. And, of course, him trying to be normal dad just doesn't work. Also, he's too busy watching Magnum P.I.
Yeah.
That was the inspiration for that shirt, right?
Yeah, it had to be.
Yeah. Because he wears very much a Magnum PI shirt.
Yeah, he really does. And I mean, they actually make fun of him about it. And he's like, "No, man, this is how you're supposed to dress.
Yep, this is how you look.
This is how you're supposed to look. It is 1985. This is how you're supposed to look."
Yeah. So, yeah, Hop goes a little crazy. He has problems with Joyce, but he ultimately still helps her as she investigates her magnets.
Right.
And ultimately discovers the Russian plot.
Yes. But he's not the only one.
We have to talk about the other two people that get involved in this plot, even though we can't spoil it too much. Because not only do those two investigate, and along the way meet new character Mayor Larry Klein, played by Cary Elwes, who is phenomenal in this small role.
Very much so.
I love Cary Elwes. I love that he was in this, and I love that his character was actually pretty solid.
Oh yeah, he was great the whole time, and there was a part at almost the end of the season where it was just phenomenal. Just the interactions between him and certain characters. Yeah. I thought it was absolutely fantastic. I loved it. Really did.
Yeah. But, the two characters, because Murray from season 2 comes back, and boy, does he get a lot more to do.
Yes, he does.
Because he shows up Murray Bowman, I think it's pronounced.
Yeah.
Bowman.
Yeah.
I know it's Murray for
sure.
Yeah,
that's the main thing that you have to know.
AKA, as they later nickname him, Bald Eagle.
Yeah.
Low-hanging fruit, kids. But Murray and who the conspiracy theorist who gets told the story, and he helps them downplay it, so they help explain Barb's death to the public, so it's not just she disappeared.
Right.
Yeah, he gets involved with Hopper and company as they also meet Dr. Alexei.
Oh, good old Alexei, man. Alexei loves his strawberry.
One of the most meme-tastic new characters on the show.
Yes.
There's so many memes about this guy.
Yeah.
And it is endearing because he's such a likable character despite never speaking English.
Right, and just smiling, and he's helpful. And the sad part about it, I think he's also misunderstood just because of the environment that he's in, and everybody picks up on that. But he still can be a little bit of a jerk at times, which I thought was absolutely wonderful. Of course, you're putting me in this situation that is not going to be specifically great for me, so I can be a jerk sometimes. And it just felt good. I really liked this character. I honestly didn't expect him to even last past the first episode we saw him. So it was really nice just to see him last a little while and really get a great amount of screen time. That was always fun.
He was easily one of the most lovable new characters.
Yes.
But okay, so we covered that subplot. We talked a bit about Michael Levin and everything. We'll get back to that in a second, but we got to talk about the other major subplot, which is the Scoop Troop.
Yes.
Oh, the Scoop Troop.
How many kids do you babysit?
This is such a great storyline. So, one of the most popular elements of season 2, and this is well known.
Yes.
Everybody knew this, was when Dustin and Steve started teaming up.
Yes, but Steve in the first season was a jerk. And he really didn't have much of a personality. And then he kind of had a little bit of a redemption saga, a redemption arc at the end of the first season. But the second season is where everything came to shine.
Yeah, because season 1, he was a jerk, but he was reasonable about it, because he legitimately felt bad about things he did.
He's not like one of our other characters we're going to speak about in a few minutes.
No. He was even from the beginning a reasonable character. It's just he was still ultimately an antagonist for most of season 1, and then season 2, he kind of awkwardly was still there, and then he just was dejected for a bit, and then Dustin became his friend, and we quickly started to love him.
Yeah.
And he quickly became, and now by season 3, he is officially Team Mom.
Right.
As seen by all the memes where they joke about him being their mom.
Yes.
And unfortunately, we do get the backstory on this. His dad decided that he needed to work for a living, so cut him off financially, forced him to get a job, and he ends up getting a job at the new mall's Scoops Ahoy.
Right.
Which offers one of the least dignified uniforms for a man ever.
Yeah.
Or indeed anyone ever. It does look better on a woman. It does still not look great, though.
No. And even him trying to lose the hat didn't help. Just imagine one of those sailor outfits you would put a baby in for just pictures for family photos when he was 2.
Yeah.
That's the outfit, but for a grown man.
But on grown men.
No, it does not work.
Yeah.
Yeah, one
so
of the
poor
best.
Steve.
One of the running gags early in the season was the fact that he was trying to hit on girls, and they were saying like it was the suit. It was the suit that was making him so nervous.
Probably was. I mean, general insecurity because he's working for $3 an hour at an ice cream shop,
Right.
which is still not great even by $1985, I believe.
No, not at all.
Yeah, because wasn't it like the 1970s when $2 an hour was the norm?
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Up to at least $4 by then.
And then you think about like this is a mega mall too, so it's like nobody's coming here for this. Like nobody cares.
Yeah, so he's already got that going for him, but he's still nice enough to help the kids, the other kids when they come to see him.
Oh yeah,
he
has
movies.
a good time with them every time. And I mean, even having them sneak in the movies and everything. That's the whole Back to the Future references that we get early in the season that pretty much permeate throughout the entire season.
There's a bunch of Back to the Future references. There's a bunch of Terminator references. There's a few Red Dawn references.
Yeah.
No duh. And there's a few Night of the Living Dead / Dawn of the
Yeah,
Dead / Day of the Dead references.
And that was one that stood out to me the most was like Back to the Future, Night of the Living Dead.
Yeah. Well, more Dawn of the Dead because that's the one set in the mall.
Oh yeah, true.
And yeah, the mall is very important this season.
Very much so. Unbelievably so.
But I gotta. How are we doing? Yeah, we're already almost 16 minutes in. So, Steve has a new coworker named Robin, played by Maya Hawke, who's notably the daughter of Ethan Hawke and
Uma Thurman.
Yeah, Uma Thurman. Thank you. She kind of does look like both of them. So
she really does.
Yeah.
Especially her mom, but the best features of their parents came out in her.
Yeah, it's not like some of these other kids where they got their worst features.
Yeah.
and I'm just like, I'm sorry.
No, but there's always those kids. I'm sorry, but it's true.
I know, it's one of those things. But no, and she thankfully is also a pretty talented actress.
No, she does really well. Like we were saying about the running gag about Steve trying to hit on girls. Like she has a chalkboard, a whiteboard that every time like he fails, she marks it on the board, and it's just one of those things that's like really funny because it's just a little thing that we find out about their relationship that we really didn't know about because they had this, of course, time jump between season 2 and season 3. Yeah. And we see this interaction between them, and then we actually have even more fleshed out backstory between the two that we don't know about until very late in the season. I thought was really nice.
Oh no, there's a lot going on with this character. She's a great addition because she's, the very snarky, wisecracky character,
right.
But she does it really well.
And that was the thing, like with Max, I enjoyed her character in season 2 and the way she was somewhat introduced. I did enjoy that too. But it didn't. It felt like it wasn't really until the very end of the season where I felt she felt comfortable as a part of the cast. Whereas with Robin, from like day one, like I thought, oh, this is perfect.
Yeah, that's pretty accurate. And sure enough, the second episode, Dustin, and when his friends abandon him after he comes home from summer camp to set up his new radio, Cerebro, to contact his girlfriend in Utah, Susie, who is a Mormon, I believe.
Yeah, I believe so, yeah.
That comes into it later, because some people had a question about something, but I don't want to spoil it too much.
No.
And so, of course, people don't believe Susie's real because he can't get her on the radio.
Right. Yeah. Like I say, it's one of those predictable outcomes of, oh, you go into camp, oh, you have a girlfriend, oh, the girlfriend doesn't live anywhere near you. We don't have pictures or any footage of her.
I'm just thinking of that episode of The Office where Kevin tries to pretend that he's also having sex with somebody in the photocopy room, and they're just like, with who? And he just goes, she goes to another school. Anyway, so shoot, and I've lost. Oh yeah, right. So Dustin and Steve get reunited, and they form the Scoop Troop with Robin.
Yeah.
And in a character I actually thought I wasn't gonna like the fact that they were getting more focus. Now I'm blanking on her name.
Erica.
Erica, thank you. Yes, Lucas' sister.
This is the way you remember it. This is the way you remember it. You can't spell America without Erica.
Yep.
She dropped that line, I was done.
I know, like, because in the first season she was a brat, but she was kind of charming.
Right.
But apparently some people really liked her, and I was like, I guess she was fine.
Yeah,
like,
she was that bratty sister that just popped in and popped out. Like, that was it. Like, I never really thought twice about her that much. It was like, oh yeah, Lucas has a sister, and they don't get along.
Yeah, and she's a brat.
Right.
And then season 3, we get that, and the running gag is she keeps getting free samples of ice cream and then not buying ice cream. Which is a pretty great scheme, I have to admit. They have to put up with it. And then, so season 3, not only do we see just how smart she is, we get some interesting characterization for her.
Yes.
And she becomes a part of the Scoop Troop with Dustin and Robin and Steve.
Yes.
And it's so shockingly good.
It worked so well. I was so surprised. I gotta give her credit. She did a magnificent job. I was expecting. Like you said, we haven't really given much of her character, so I couldn't expect much. And I was so surprised how well it worked, how well she cooked with so many characters. Like, I'm now excited to see her interaction going forward with certain characters, especially with Dustin, because he had a big moment with her at the very end of the season.
It was a hilarious moment.
I absolutely adored.
It was, yeah. No, like, this group, hands down, had the best subplot.
Yeah.
And then we talked about Hop and Joyce's subplot. Probably second best. It's hard because there's one that is definitely the worst to me, and I'm curious if you'll agree or not.
Okay.
Well, let's talk about the one I think is the worst.
Oh, yeah.
Jonathan and Nancy.
Oh, hands down, yes.
Yeah.
Like, there was one scene, and I'll definitely spoil this part because it really doesn't mean that much, but it does mean a little bit. Because they've tried to find out, like, what's going on, like, these rats are like, going crazy now in the town. And some of them are exploding and everything. And there was one part where they found a rat, and they were observing it. And the rat starts freaking out. And they just leave.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, you're supposed to be detectives right now. They have a clue. And
I know.
They just leave.
It really wasn't a terribly interesting subplot.
No,
it's like,
no.
Hey, weird stuff. Like, it establishes... It probably contributes the least amount to the main plot.
Right.
And it just involves a lot of really awkward 1980s sexism.
Yeah, like the only thing that it helped was the fact that it gave Jake Busey some lines.
Which wasn't even great. Like,
no!
That subplot really felt kind of pointless.
It was a scene very late in the season in the hospital. Like, that's all I'll say. That was absolutely fantastic. Like, that was very 1980s slasher flick fantastic.
Yeah, and like that was the payoff.
It could have been with anybody though.
I know, like, that's the thing. Like, they could have given them better material. Like, it's really a shame, because I really liked their subplot in Season 2.
Yeah.
And their subplot in Season 1 was solid enough. But, yeah, in this case, it was hands down just meh.
Yeah, it didn't matter. It really didn't matter.
No, I really wish they could have thought of something better for them. But then, of course, we haven't talked about the other core group, which is, of course, Mike, Eleven, Lucas, and Max.
Right.
With Will, of course.
With Will.
Sorry.
And no, you actually said it right, because here's the thing. Will is such a pivotal part to the story.
Yeah.
Season 1, he gets abducted. Season 2, he gets possessed. Season 3, we're expecting some kind of follow-up, because, like, the end of Season 2, and this is a spoiler for you if you haven't seen Season 2. If you haven't seen Season 2, I don't know why you're listening about Season 3. But the fact is that when it comes to the end of Season 2, he has the premonition of something gigantic coming. It's already looming over the town, and it's coming. And he has spider tingles. Like, that's it. And that's his whole purpose in this season, is spider tingles.
And a longing for lost youth.
Right, that's it. But I was kind of hoping that something would have him really connected to the Upside Down. Like, so he would have some kind of power, some kind of intuition, like some kind of revelation how to defeat what needs to be conquered. Like, he really just had spider tangles, and that was it.
Yeah, it's a shame, because, like, he had a really good emotional plot, and he had an interesting thing that's unique to him, but ultimately he didn't get a lot of payoff.
Right, and I mean, there was a point where he was like, okay, I understand where all my friends are coming from, and I'll just go along with it.
Speaking of characters who both had a really interesting element to them, but were also kind of disappointing to me, Max.
Yes, Max is another
You
one.
probably understand where I'm going with this, but I'm going to lay it
Max
out for the audience.
One that, like, end of Season 2, I was really excited about her being a part of the cast. And then it was just like, once again, it was like, just this backtracking with her character. And then by the end, really, she was, like, shockingly enough, very similar to Lucas, where she necessarily didn't matter that much.
It's really frustrating because, like, the big thing she had is she helped Elle grow as a character.
Right.
Which was really good.
And that was in the first half of the season, but then after that, she really wasn't needed.
Which is really annoying because we got to get into the spoiler now.
Right, and this is the biggest part of the spoiler we're going to go into when it comes to the season.
Yeah, this starts at the end of episode 1, and we're gonna cover the first little bit with him. So Billy's still around.
Yes. Heartthrob Billy now, lifeguard Billy. Baywatch Billy.
Which of course he is. And he seems legitimately to be trying to bang older women.
Yes, yes.
Because that's basically all Karen does this season.
Oh, yeah.
Man, talk about actresses they don't use much.
I know.
Cara Buono is a main cast member, and she very rarely gets anything to do.
Yeah, she does nothing.
No, it's really frustrating. Because it feels like they always want to do more with the character, and they just don't. Because she's mostly a supporting character for Nancy more than anything. Not even Mike.
Yeah, she really is.
She has a few good moments with Mike, though, and some really good moments with Nancy later in the season, too.
Mm-hmm.
And really good moment with her husband, which was shocking. But, no, yeah. So Billy, he's in general his usual douchebag self.
Right.
He feels a little more, he feels like he's found a better outlet for himself because he's now a lifeguard.
Yeah, I was about to say, now, even though he's still a douche, it's more of he's that douche that you see around town, and you're like, oh yeah, he's just that guy. He's not like, I'm a douche picking on kids now.
Yeah, he's power tripping, undeniably.
Right.
But you could always say that he takes, you could always say, he takes a level of pride to it.
Right. No, like you said, but now he has I think he has a better outlet in terms of, not hurting people.
Yeah, he doesn't seem like he's potentially actually trying to murder people.
Right,
that moment
he's
in
not
season
that
2.
person anymore.
Yeah. And then, at the end of episode 1, the Mind Flayer gets him.
Yes.
And we introduce the new concept for the season, the Flayed.
Yes.
Where the Mind Flayer basically takes control of people.
Mm-hmm.
And, yeah, so he is essentially, despite Billy the character at least getting somewhat lighter, Billy, as an overall thing, is now effectively the main villain of the show.
Right, he's the host.
He is the host of the Mind Flayer. And I gotta say, on the one hand, they did some really, really good stuff with him.
Mm-hmm.
But where it really let me down, Max and Billy did not get enough interaction for them.
No, they had one major scene.
Yeah.
And that was it. And then they had another very, very small scene when he was chasing them. It was at the end of the season. But that was more about 11 than it was about Max.
I'm just going to say it now. As much as I love the strawberry and cherry scene, we probably could have lost it to have another Max and Billy scene.
That's true. I will agree with that. I definitely do.
I know. I love that scene. I'm not saying
do.
it was a bad scene. I'm saying it was probably a waste of time.
Right. I mean, there was a scene that followed that meant more than that. And
that's what I'm saying.
They could have really cut that back. I mean, and that's another thing with just Max, not even coming to grips with she understands what's going on, but there's really no follow up on her emotionally. It's not even fun. You have to think about this. You could kill your brother with this whole situation.
Yeah,
and it's
because they had that problem with Will back in season 2.
Right. And it's there's no emotional connection in that regard outside of that one scene. But when it comes to Billy like that, and this is one thing I was talking about with Will, I really like the idea that the Mind Flayer grabbed onto Billy. And then we find out, in Billy's past, some of the things that connected him to becoming the person that he is now. And
it makes so much sense.
Right, and then it started making sense. And to me, it also makes sense, why the Mind Flayer would be attracted to him. You find that kind of hurt and pain and anger that would be pretty much attractive to something like the Mind Flayer. And then you have Will. And then you have the rest of these other characters we find out that also have been kind of controlled and processed. And I really wish they could have explained exactly why the Mind Flayer chose these characters. That was one of my biggest things, especially when it comes to Will. Because it seems Will's kind of a pet project. And we don't necessarily know exactly why, even though we know little things here and there. A lot of the stuff that, with Will now, when it comes to trauma, is because of the Mind Flayer and being in the Upside Down, and not because of what happened beforehand. Whereas, like, we kind of like got an idea with Billy that the reason the Mind Flayer was so attracted to him was because of the stuff that happened way before any of this happened.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, I don't know what else to say. That was a really good rant, and I don't know where to start. And we're kind of running long in this, so I'm just gonna say at this point, I'd say bottom line, it's still a pretty good season.
No, very much so. To me, it was stronger than season 2 overall.
Probably. In more than a few ways, I'm definitely gonna agree with you.
Yeah.
But I do think, I'm trying to put it this way, like, it takes a little while. Really takes a while to get going. Like,
yeah, it takes almost all 4 episodes. The first 4 episodes it takes, and there's only 8.
Yep, and it is a little frustrating because the kids are now preteen or going through hormones and stuff. They're just generally angry.
Yeah,
and it's kind of unpleasant.
Yeah, we always joke about this, especially when it comes to anime. Like you have that episode of teenage angst. Like everybody has teen angst. No, these kids definitely had that too.
Well, this is why the Robin or the Scoop Troop is probably the most enjoyable because there's very little angst there.
Yeah, they're just trying to.
There's still anger.
They have a mission. They have a mission.
Yeah.
The only angst is because of things that happen in the mission that have gone wrong.
Yeah, and we get some shocking character moments too.
Right.
Which does lead to some angst.
But I mean, even to top that off, we have more than just teen angst. We have adult angst too with Jim and Joyce.
Yeah, and that one's also kind of annoying.
Yeah.
Thankfully, when Murray shows up, things get a lot funnier. But I think season 3 is still definitely worth a watch.
Oh yeah.
I think it's probably time to move on.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to season 4. I'm looking forward to seeing what they do. I think they really need to do it kind of thing, like maybe get some adult character versions of the kids. It's all blending into that because.
Well, we'll see what happens with season 4.
Yeah.
But I wanted to dive into a franchise we both love.
Yeah.
Which is the Yakuza franchise, because Judgment has arrived.
Judgment.
Yes. Also known as Judge Eyes.
Yes.
Judgment
I thought it was such a great name in America. Why they had to change it?
To generic Judgment? Yeah, I know what you mean. So it's the latest game from the Ryuga Gotoku Studio?
Yeah.
Which is a Sega studio that does the Yakuza series, and they do PS4 exclusives, although they have released some on PC recently.
Yeah, I know they've done the Kiwamis and Zero.
Yep. Yeah, so they'll probably do, once the remaster for 3 is done, remaster, not remake, sadly.
Yeah.
They'll probably put that on the PC as well. But, so, Judgment is set in, 2015?
No.
2018.
Yeah,
sorry.
no, it's actually set now. They decided they wanted to go with a more recent year when it comes to a game now.
Yeah, so it's set in 2018, although there's flashbacks to 2015, that's why it's 2015 for a second. Yeah. And it's a very hilarious change of pace, because, the core gameplay is very similar. A lot of the familiar mechanics are back.
Especially when it comes to the action. There's a couple of little things here and there, like being able to jump over people and run up on walls and do attacks like that.
Oh boy, do they want to talk about wall running.
Yeah. But a majority of the gameplay, when it comes to hand-to-hand combat, is it's just like the other Yakuza games.
Yep. Yeah, it's just now you can hop over people and now you can wall run, and they really want you to use that wall run.
Oh, I use it all the time, too. I love doing the spinning head scissors.
Oh, because it's a very different character, because Kiryu ultimately, the protagonist of the Yakuza series, was a heavy dude.
Right.
Now we've got a more spry, agile, kung fu type dude.
And especially with this engine, and in regards to Yakuza 6, Kiryu was getting so much older, so he was getting slower. So it's really fun to play with somebody that's a lot faster and lighter. It's very similar to playing with Majima in Yakuza 0.
Okay, so the protagonist, Takeyuki Yagami, who is modeled after noted Japanese actor Takuya Yagumi, something like that? Kimura, sorry.
Kimura.
Takura Kimura, yeah. He has that famous thing where he wore a yellow puffy vest thing. I can't remember. I've seen him in stuff I like, though.
Right.
And how old is this character supposed to be? 30s?
Yeah, mid-30s now.
Yeah, he legit starts as an older dude. And he's a former defense attorney who's now a private detective. Mm-hmm. And he's trying to basically atone for what he feels were the sins of his past.
Right, because he did one thing like you always question when it comes to being a lawyer, is defending someone that potentially has done something really, really terrible.
Yeah.
And come to find out you were wrong in defending this person.
Yeah, like it's a very good, harsh moral backstory that still haunts him 3 years later. And indeed, it's going to be important to the game, no shock. But we also get the trademark moments of levity from the Yakuza series. And
mostly thanks to the side missions.
Oh yeah, but even in the main mission, there's still some pretty good verbal sparring here and there.
Yeah, there was actually one mission that they posed as a main mission, and then it was kind of like a side mission too. But you had to go through it to progress the story, where they had to determine who ate a piece of cake.
Yep. It's such a goofy little element, but
yeah.
Yeah, and like it's essentially it's a detective story, and it's a pretty solid one. I would say the storyline is pretty good.
Yeah.
I still haven't made it entirely through it as of this recording, but I'm super close.
Yeah, same here. Same here.
Yeah, although not on my personal account, and I am probably going to go back and replay it for legit on mine.
Yeah,
Watch it once again. You'll suddenly see a bunch of trophies pop.
I do want to replay it in English, honestly.
Yeah, no, because they actually have proper English voices for this. Some of them are pretty good. Like this isn't like a dub job of another game, which we'll probably talk about in a few weeks, which had questionable decisions made with their dub. Oh boy, I'll tell you after the recording. I don't want to talk about this now, especially since we're already running long. But I gotta say, as much as I like this game, I'm disappointed in a couple of ways.
Okay.
You could probably guess what one of them is. Some of the detective mechanics suck.
Yeah, I was going to say, I thought you were probably talking about some of the more new implementations that would...
Oh, yeah.
That were kind of half, but... I mean, like, okay, one thing that we've seen in previous Yakuza games is chasing characters in a specific area. They do it again here, and for some reason it just feels worse.
Well, I think part of it is because you both can and can't move your character.
Right.
Because, like, if you're actually guiding your character, you still have to use the guide prompt to go left or right.
Right. You can go
which is stupid if you're already guiding your character.
Yeah. You can go on the x-axis.
But you also have to... Yeah, like, I don't know. I mean, so the use of the sticks as well as button prompts is kind of annoying. Like, the button prompts make sense because they always do kind of the same thing. So you can even predict what one you'll have to hit.
Yeah.
But the moving left and right when you also have to move left and right anyway.
Yeah, the first time I did that, I was so surprised. Like it didn't feel fluid at all.
No, it really felt like I appreciated having more dodge mechanics, but I miss not being able to pick up bottles to throw at people, and I don't like the fluidity of the sticks. But that one's not so bad. The tailing one, I actually kind of liked.
Yeah, I do enjoy the tailing one. Like sometimes it's a little off because, like they were saying, like, oh, don't run into a character or don't make noise, and that won't alert them. But then, like, the character's paranoid anyway that you're tailing, so you have to be careful. And there are certain objects that you can't stand behind that you think you could. But a majority of the time you can't. Even certain objects where you're not supposed to stand behind, they still work.
I know, like it's a solid enough little stealth game, though, I would say. But yeah, unfortunately, oh man. So the one I hate the most.
Okay.
Unlocking your door.
Oh man, with the
not even the lockpicking. I don't like the lockpicking either.
No, fine. Actually, because no, I'm actually fine with the lockpick. If you start from the right and go back and go left, it's perfectly fine. Don't start from the left and go right. Start from the right and go left. It works perfectly fine. But oh my goodness, the lockpicking
keychain minigame. What idiot thought that was a good idea?
Oh, the rotating sticks, the freaking breakable wires. No. I you warned me beforehand coming off the review, so I actually upgraded a lot of that stuff before, so it wasn't that big of a deal. But
I did too.
Yeah, but the actual action is so annoying. Like, I do not like that one at all.
This really frustrates me because some of the minigame cases in general are really fun.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh my god, dealing with the pervert trio, or whatever they're called.
The Twisted Trio.
That's the ones.
And yesterday...
we gotta say the name.
Oh yeah, no, even better. I ran into one yesterday, completely naked outside of a mask.
Yep. But let's not forget Ass Ketchum.
Yeah, but like after hearing Grand Impact, like Ass Ketchum was like an easy one to laugh at, but Grand Impact...
Yep.
For a pervert.
And don't forget Professor Panties.
Professor Panties. Oh man. There's the judge character. I had no idea how to complete that side quest. I had no idea that he would be sticking on the wall like Spider-Man.
I know, right? it's a thing, and like that's kind of the fun part is the investigation, like the actual looking for clues around the crime scene.
Mm-hmm.
That can actually be pretty fun. Like, it's a little hit or miss, but like doing that with your eyes or just with the drone, that can still be very interesting.
Right.
And then having to present evidence like Phoenix Wright, and it doesn't feel entirely forced.
Yeah,
that's pretty
definitely
great.
Moments where you will present the wrong evidence, and I love the fact like they tell you like, "Are you sure that's what you mean?" It's like, "Oh, wait a minute, I was just testing you."
And there's even EXP bonuses for not answering redundant questions.
Right.
Which I do kind of love because it makes you feel more engaged in the conversation.
I really do. I did when I first saw that. They actually showed it to you very early in a conversation between two characters. And that moment, and that was a mini game they took from like the bar mini game in Yakuza 6, and redid it, and I love it.
I know, it was great. I don't know if is there much. Oh, I was gonna say I do miss weapons.
Yeah,
I will always miss
actually
weapons.
Surprised about that because of course you can pick up certain weapons. Like if you beat up an enemy that has a baseball bat or a crowbar, you can pick that up. And of course you can like pick up random things like bicycles or just like or stop traffic cones. But other than that, there's no real weapons in this game, which I'm not too surprised about because of the character they were playing as. But there was one thing I was actually surprised about. I just thought about it. Police chases.
Yeah, those are interesting.
Yeah, I actually encountered them the first time a couple of nights ago. I've actually been able to beat up people pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And I was actually surprised. I like the mechanic. I really do. I like the fact you hear the sirens and all of a sudden they stop the fight and the character that you might have been fighting runs off too. And they actually give you you cleared that fight, so that's fine by me too.
And I also like that friendship is now a thing.
Yeah. But I was actually surprised. I was a little bit disappointed with that because I was expecting them maybe like to jump into the fight with you, like if they're around and a fight breaks out in the middle of the street. And
Sadly,
I was kind of like trying to lure that character to do it with me, and it never did. And I realized, oh, that's how it works. Like none of these characters mean anything in terms of battle, even though they're walking around Kamarocho alongside you.
Yeah, you can talk to them though, and they can sometimes give you items.
But they still have certain areas where you, like a character will, like if you're outside the Smile Burger and you befriended one of the characters there, they'll throw you a weapon, like they throw you some hot sauce. That's a heat action.
Yeah, I do appreciate that.
Yeah.
But the other thing I wanted to complain about, and this is a very pedantic thing, man, this game really didn't want me to play for the trophies.
Oh my goodness, yes.
I had no idea you actually had to find all the damn cats.
Yeah, I found out about that when I was looking. It was one side quest that you actually have to find cats. And I just assumed like that was the actual side quest, like that was it. Like the whole thing was very similar. It was Yakuza 6 where they had you had to find the cats too?
Yeah, you had to find the cats for the cat cafe.
Right. But
nope.
they were open. They were in the open world. Mm-hmm. Whereas with this, no, there are actually certain sections, like if you don't find the cat, then you will never find it.
This game has one of my least favorite kind of trophies, where you have to do very specific things at very specific times, and if you don't, you have to play the whole game again.
Exactly.
And I really, I hated when South Park Stick of Truth did that.
Mm-hmm.
And I really hated it that this game has done it.
Yeah.
I usually don't play these games for the trophies anyway. I'm just saying to fellow trophy hunters, though, watch out.
Yeah, make sure you have the list open in front of you at all times.
Yeah, like this is probably going to be one of the games I complete the least in terms of side stuff. I still want to play through all the cases, though. I still want to play through the main story. Like, I'm not bored in those respects.
Oh, no, not at all. I'm actually looking forward to playing all those. I do. Yeah. They're all fun. But, like you said, in terms of, like, being specifically 100%ing the game, which I haven't really done outside of Yakuza 6, but I'm not even going to try with this one. Like, I'm just going to enjoy it as best I can. That's it.
Yeah, that pretty much sums it up. But, I don't know. I'd still say it's well worth a recommend and a worthy successor, mostly to the previous games.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see how it pans out in the overall story, and because if it's like just a single entry in the series, like this is it. They just want to do one judgment. So far, like I'm perfectly fine with that.
Yep. But I wouldn't mind a second one.
But I definitely wouldn't mind the sequel.
And I do like that it's a more tech-savvy protagonist as well as a more agile one.
Yeah.
So we do...
And that's one thing, before I close out with this, I will have to tell everyone, too, that maybe our fans of the franchise who haven't jumped into this one, it is definitely more based on the story and text and talking than it is the action. So
Absolutely.
If you're like a fan of more of the Yakuza's action and the 3D brawling elements, this might not be for you.
No, it's definitely more narrative focused, but it's also a solid chance for people to try out a game in the franchise because we had Zero recently, which is also pretty good, which starts as a kind of a jumping on point for people, especially also with Kiwami and Kiwami 2 coming out. Judgment is a standalone, and only a few elements of the, I was surprised how few tied in. It's still the same area.
Yeah, what just like the clan, some of the Yakuza names, you will see familiarized for those who are understanding of the Yakuza series, but other than that, no, it's its own standalone title.
I have not seen a single cameo yet.
No, same here. I've not seen anything that...
Not even a tiny side character.
No, I was expecting the Tiger Drop to be associated with a specific character, and so far I have not seen him at all. It's
not a one.
Just do TD, just take pictures. That's all you have to do.
Yep. So I think on this note, we're going to move on to, we're going to marathon a few movies.
Yeah.
Because we're already kind of running long here. But thankfully, these movies aren't going to have much to talk about.
No, they will not.
So, I'll tell you what, I'll start with one.
Okay.
Because this is one I saw for full price, and I'm kind of annoyed at that. Men in Black International.
Wow.
Did not need to exist.
No, it does not.
It's not the worst in the franchise, but it is probably the most pointless.
No, it really is. It does nothing.
And the comedy gets really bad at points.
Yeah.
It also has some funny moments, but it gets real bad.
And that's the thing, because Chris and Tessa had such a great chemistry in Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah. They still have a good one here, but it's not the same.
They still do, but Chris Hemsworth is playing fat Thor without being fat.
It's really weird. And they themselves kind of lampshaded more than once. And then, Kumail Nanjiani.
Yeah.
Oh boy, he's getting overexposed lately.
Yeah. He's this little tiny alien that you see in the trailers. He's that character, and he's good.
He's
comic
got a few
relief.
good jokes though.
Huh?
He's got a few good jokes.
Yeah, so he's good comic relief. I'm not going to deny that. And there's a character interaction with Tessa Thompson's character Molly that I thought was really fun. But it's one of those things it's nothing that we haven't seen before.
Yeah. And then Rebecca Ferguson was pretty much wasted as RZA.
Oh my goodness, yes, that was nothing.
No, she is way more talented than that role was.
Yeah, I mean, she's that was a side character off a television show. That didn't even. If this was Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D., and I love Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D., but if this was Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D., she would have fit into that. It wouldn't have really mattered. It didn't matter at all for this.
No, and there was just some other, it didn't really matter. I didn't really care about the plot. There was nothing that interesting, and there was the really confusing time jumps where we had two different flashbacks to open the movie.
Right. There was one where we get introduced to both Hemsworth's character, Agent H, and Liam Neeson's character, and then we go to Molly as a child, and there's this flash forward of Molly growing up and trying to become a Men in Black, and I was expecting something more mystical, awe-inspiring for her after she became a part of the agency. And it was okay, and I'm a part, and she's jumped right into the role with no problems.
Yeah, and we got that stupid montage.
Yeah.
Hands down, my least favorite part of the movie was that montage.
Yeah, it was wrong.
It wasn't even that funny, and it used jokes from the first one, but didn't know how to use it.
Exactly.
Because she takes the noisy cricket, and she dismisses it. I'm like, the whole joke in the first movie was that was a really powerful gun.
Right.
And then she says, check please. And I'm like, why? That's not even remotely appropriate for this scene.
Yeah.
And she's just mugging for the camera. And I'm like, Tessa Thompson, don't make me hate you.
Right.
Please don't. I quite enjoy your work.
Yes.
Anyway, do you want to take the next one? Pick your favorite.
Oh, okay. No, I'm picking my worst. And I'm going to have to go with Chucky's Child's Play, the 2000.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah, because at least one of the films I'm going to talk about a little bit later, I didn't really have any anticipation for. For this, I was at least had a mild anticipation for.
Yeah, Mark Hamill is Chucky, if nothing else.
Right. Like, and this is the thing, and I'll spoil this. It's not like the original Child's Play. This doll does not become possessed by a murderer. This is a technical error by a.
Oh, really?
Yes, it's a technical error by a disgruntled factory worker. Like, that's why Chucky's evil. And the worst part about
that's already disappointing.
Yeah, and I'm assuming, like, I will spoil this was right at the beginning of the movie. The factory worker actually kills himself afterwards. Like, he knows I've unleashed evil upon this world and I cannot live anymore. Instead of having, like, Chucky be responsible for the death.
Oh, that's super disappointing.
Yeah. But the main plot is the fact that he's this kid who is kind of ostracized. His mom brings home Chucky that is pretty much like, it's almost like a punching bag for him to a certain extent. Like, I know it's a terrible toy, but it's something to make you feel better today. And then come to find out, no, Chucky's really, really nice. And then he sees things, like watching a horror movie with his kid's friends and realizing that horror movies make kids laugh. So I want to be a horror movie too. No.
That's really convoluted.
Yeah, it's really, really, really bad.
I tried to follow your logic as you were explaining that to me, and I couldn't. Now, I appreciate it wasn't actually your logic.
Right, no. Like, no, that's what you have to go through. And there's some really stupid humor, some really stupid kills. Like, okay, now, mind you, okay, I have to also note, the buddies that Chucky's a part of have these controls over pretty much like Google Home. They're like doll Google Homes that are smart home devices that control everything. But
so he's not just a killer AI doll, he's a murder house.
Right. Oh no, it goes beyond houses. It even goes to cars that has nothing connected to them. Look. It goes to drones that for some reason have blades that are sharp enough to cut people's throats.
Okay, so I know Chucky can be a goofy character because he's just a tiny plastic man.
Right.
And it can be hard to take him seriously, much like it's hard to take Leprechaun seriously.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's still probably goofier than this, because at least Chucky in the original series was a serial killer who possessed a doll.
Right,
and he's like,
even then,
yeah,
it was
I
like
screwed
his
up.
own. It was the killer's own natural humor that made him goofy.
Yeah. And, like, it's just... now he's just a hackabot?
Right. Right, that's all it is. And I will tell you right now, they actually tease a sequel.
That's a shame. Was Mark Hamill at least good?
Yes and no. Because, I mean, they gave him robotic one-liners. So, he does well at them, but it's just like he's not given much to really do. Even him killing, it's not like he has those quippy one-liners or just impressive monologues or anything. It's nothing. Like, you think about the end of Child's Play and that kind of connection between Andy and Chucky and the speeches and the monologues that Chucky gives. Like, you don't get that here.
I love the ending. Okay, I'm going to spoil the original Child's Play. So, at the very end, the kid's got Chucky, and Chucky's like, no, don't kill me. We're friends to the end, which is like the toy's catchphrase.
Right.
And then the kid says, in hilariously delivered line, this is the end, friend. And it's one of my favorite one-liners from a stupid horror
film. You don't get anything that good in this movie. Like, nothing. I mean, they didn't even try to do... They kind of, like, recreate that at the end, but it's not with Andy, it's with Aubrey Plaza's character, who's a terrible woman. She was a terrible mother, and that's another little soft plot. Like, she has this guy that she's dating that's terrible, too. He actually tries to scare Andy, and it's just really bad. Really, really bad.
So let's talk about a movie that it's probably still more enjoyable.
Right.
But it's pretty frustrating. Let's talk about Lion King. The original was better.
Oh, hands down. Like, no questions asked. Like, I did not expect it to be any better than the original. I couldn't have imagined it being better than the original.
Like, well, because here's the problem. Much like Beauty and the Beast, they copied most of the plot. Mm-hmm. The stuff they changed was basically all for the worse.
Yeah. They tried to add some characterization to characters that really didn't matter. They tried to kind of add a hierarchy to the villainy, and it was like, I don't really care. And then the characters they could have used some, like grown Simba, just still fell flat. Like the pitfall of grown Simba in the original is still the same one in this one when it comes to his character and the way he feels. But the difference is between the animation and the voice acting. In the animated version, even grown Simba, as bad as it was in terms of like growth, still felt natural. Whereas with
I know what you mean.
Oh, I don't know.
Sorry, I had to say something.
Okay, yeah.
Well, no, that was it. That's what I was saying.
Oh.
No, keep going.
No. That was like the main thing that like really hung me up. And then of course you have Scar. Like.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
They camped him up even more, and I knew that was gonna happen.
And the thing about it with the campiness in the original, they had the animation to go with it though. That was the thing.
Like, I know, because that's the thing. These creatures are too realistic.
Yes.
So it doesn't work. And I mean, like, I know facial emotion is one of the things they really talk about, but just the general lack of animation in general.
Yeah, like everybody had that same face. Like, even with Timon and Pumbaa, like, that point where they first meet Simba, and they're scared out of their wits. Like, you don't get that emotion from their facial features. The only thing that does it is the actual voice acting, which is actually phenomenal.
The only one that I think is really well animated is Zazu.
Oh, yeah.
And he's a freaking bird, so of course he is. And, like, that's really frustrating because, the voice cast is not the problem here.
No, not at all.
I don't think there's any that's really that distracting. I mean, it is, like, probably the most weird is John Oliver, actually, speaking of Zazu.
Oh,
just
yeah.
Because he sounds very different from Rowan Atkinson.
Mm-hmm.
But almost everyone else, like, it doesn't, like, Donald Glover as Simba works for me. Is it Chiwetel Ejiofor?
Yeah.
Yeah, Scar. Yeah, he worked fairly well.
Yeah, when he was given like lines that were made for this Scar, he did very well.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I still kind of annoyed that he felt less subtle. He just felt like more generically campy, and
right.
Like, but he's still like no fault to the actors on any of this. I thought the writing was lazier, and it was still just mostly a carbon copy of the original with like very few changes.
That was the main thing. Like they did nothing, and I understand. Like, okay, we're trying to update this for a new generation. Disney has streaming services.
I know. Like this really didn't need an update.
Right.
Like it was bad enough that Beauty and the Beast at times, if you watch the live action one, it feels like an attempt to address the concerns people had with the first one and just make it worse.
Right.
Like, because they're like, hey guys, check it out. Isn't it weird that we're in a magic castle? Just fool with the magic castle, dude. Like, now in this, it's just like, oh hey, we're lions. And the original was, oh hey, we're lions. That's it.
Yeah.
Like, there's just nothing. Like, at least with Beauty and the Beast, you kind of get the feeling they tried to do something with it.
Right.
And it just was a bad idea. I was still, like, that still had more, like, Jon Favreau, very good work with the CG. The CG looks beautiful.
Oh, no.
It just was pointless.
Yeah, the movie looks absolutely gorgeous. It's a tour de force in terms of graphics, but it felt hollow outside of that.
I know. Like, and I pity the people who are going to see this as their first Lion King.
I think about that a lot when it comes to movies like those, where like the connection that we have with certain movies that we saw that now have been remade. Just like with Child's Play, for goodness sakes.
Yeah, I know. It's
like that was our first experience with this franchise, with this cinematic experience, and we had fond memories of it. These kids more than likely will forget about it by the end of the month.
I know, and like at least Child's Play had a reason to be remade.
Right. Ran that into the ground.
So, you want to talk about the next one?
Oh,
I think we're gonna.
Yeah.
I think if you wouldn't mind talking about the other one, so we can talk about the one we both saw to wrap it up.
Okay, yeah. I'm sticking with the horror theme.
I'll probably want you to take the lead on that one too.
Yeah, I'm sticking with the horror theme, and I'm going with Annabelle Comes Home.
Yeah.
See, this is different. Why I said Child's Play was the worst, because I didn't really have any expectations for Annabelle Comes Home. I just saw it because I just saw it, and the main problem I had with the movie was the fact that once again, and I don't understand how this has gone on so long. Annabelle is not a threat. It's just a doll that shows up at random spots. Like, the one thing I'll give them credit for is that they had ghosts show up that Annabelle supposedly is controlling. so the ghosts themselves were like more of the enemies than Annabelle. But it still's like, okay, yeah, this is a prequel, but it's still not a prequel. It doesn't talk about the people that were in the previous movies. It just stop this. For heaven's sake, stop it.
I know there's examples of this where like the franchise has a name, but they don't even really matter. Because, like, Elder Scrolls 4, they called it the Elder Scrolls. The Elder Scrolls didn't matter in the plot at all.
There you go.
There you go. That's the best one I got off the top of my head.
Yeah, really, just it's one of those things like it's one on its welcome. Like this is the exact thing like what Chucky what Child's Play was, where it's done so much with the franchise that it doesn't even matter anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Like
no, Friday the 13th. It's not always Friday the 13th when he comes back.
That's true. That's very true.
Halloween is still usually Halloween when he comes home.
Yeah, usually it's Halloween, until we do something crazy. But, like, they're sticking to that. Like, the Friday the 13th, that doesn't even matter anymore.
No.
It's Nightmare on Elm Street. It doesn't have to be on Elm Street all the time.
Nope. But, in this case, it's just Annabelle. Annabelle's just there.
Yeah, she's just there. She came home all right. She really did. Like, all you have to do is just put her in a glass box and throw some holy water on her. You're done.
Yep. Well, okay, let's talk about the one we were actually really looking forward to.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of sad we have to talk about this. We're talking about Shaft.
Yes, 2019 Shaft. Because there's been a 1971 version, which was the original.
Yep.
We had the 2000 version,
Yep.
which introduced Samuel L. Jackson as Shaft. And now we have 19 years later, Shaft. An action comedy.
I didn't mind that they went action comedy. I just hate that the comedy mostly sucked.
I hate the fact that it should have been flipped. It should be comedy with a little bit of action thrown in.
Yeah.
Like, that's what it was.
Yeah.
And this is the thing. If I came into it, and I actually saw it again with a group of friends, and we actually enjoyed it a lot more because I took it now and from a comedy perspective, even though the comedy still was pretty bad. But coming into it,
it has really funny, like, yeah.
I don't know.
Because Samuel L. Jackson is still.
It's gonna be action oriented. I'm thinking about more of that, but no. Like I said, we really went action. It really went comedy oriented. And what was your opinion on the idea of Shaft being this outdated fossil now?
Like, I get the argument to a degree because it is still a modern world, and like you don't necessarily need the street hero in the way we see him. Like we've gotten shows that have argued that's not true, especially with Luke Cage.
Right.
That feels relevant. Yeah. But no, to a degree, the idea of the street hero, going off and solving people's problems is kind of outdated. But at the same time, you think of all the problems that just aren't getting solved.
Right.
I still say he has his place. So I can see why they kind of argued that to a degree, but I wouldn't say it's completely outdated.
And then we had the big philosophies of Shaft, especially when it comes to the opposite sex.
Yeah.
That I thought they did really well at certain points. Because like there's one scene where he's telling just to talk about a little bit, okay, Shaft's son JJ, pretty much Shaft Jr.
John Jr., so JJ.
Right. He gets raised by his mother. Shaft goes off and does his own thing, so they never meet each other.
Yeah.
And as he gets older, they actually end up in the same city, and he needs help from his dad to find out who potentially killed his best friend. So we have this interaction of, these two estranged family members, son and father, reuniting, getting to know each other. And throughout this throughout the movie, Shaft is trying to impart his knowledge, his worldly wisdom upon his son, especially when it comes to women. And there are several times in the movie where they pretty much make fun of it, like Shaft's so outdated mentally when it comes to dealing with other women. And they make fun of it. They do a great job. Like, there's one point, I remember he was, like, in the car, he's, like, telling his son, like, you should never apologize to a woman. And then, like, late in the film, he does apologize, like, he has to apologize to women.
Yeah, of course he does.
But then there are other moments where, like, oh my goodness, Shaft was completely right about women. Like, there's a moment where JJ stands up and quote unquote is a man in this situation, and of course the girl just swoons all over him.
Yeah, I know it's weird because they want to show like that his suave ladies' man of the 70s thing doesn't really work anymore.
Right.
It still kind of does.
But it does. But it really does. And not only that, but it actually is going on another generation to his own son.
I know. It's like, I get the point because, things are in black and white, but this film doesn't present it that well.
No, not at all. It's like one moment, okay, he's completely wrong. Next moment, no, he's actually right. Like, there's no in-between. There's no coming to terms with the idea of, yes, times have changed, but there are certain aspects in life that don't.
Yeah. Some things change, some things don't, is what they should have focused on, and
right.
they didn't. Like, I still love the part where he's just like, I'm an equal opportunist.
Yeah.
That's as awkward as that conversation is, it is still really funny to me.
Right. And the fact is like, they actually do establish that because it's like, hey, you hurt my son. Talking about a dude. It's like, I'm going to mess you up because of it. And it's like, okay, you're threatening my son. I don't care if you're a woman. I'm still going to mess you up. So I was perfectly fine with that idea. That was actually very funny. And
if someone's trying to beat me up, I will fight back.
Right, exactly.
I don't think it's sexist to say if a woman attacked me, I would defend myself.
Right. It wasn't like he was trying to say, oh, I'm just going around beating up women and just slapping them around because I'm Shaft.
No. It's totally a self-defense argument.
Right.
And I think, like, it's not.
Especially when a woman's pointing a gun at you.
Yeah, it's modern day defend yourself, fool.
Right, exactly.
I say in the whitest way possible.
Yeah,
I put way too much emphasis on the L there.
Yeah, you had to put that fool in there. But I thought Regina Hall did a good job for the little bit that she had to do.
Yep.
Friggin' Alexandria Shipp was absolutely phenomenal in her scenes. Like, there was one.
She keeps showing up in bad movies
and bad
TV shows.
Like, she should never be
Storm.
Storm.
Talented.
Don't be Storm, but be this girl.
Well, don't forget she was also Aaliyah.
Yes, she was. You're right.
Oh, was that a bad movie?
And
oh, was it not her fault?
And the funny thing, like, easily one of my favorite moments in the entire movie involved her by herself, where she was deciding, you know what, JJ's taking too long in there. I'm gonna go in there, and she stops herself and says, you know, that was like, this is really stupid. Like, I have no weapons. I'm gonna run in there, not knowing what's going on. That's a really stupid idea. Like, this is just a fourth wall breaking moment that I absolutely love.
Yeah. Like, it's a pretty solid, it's a pretty solid meta joke. And Samuel L. Jackson's pretty funny in this.
Oh no,
for
he's
the most
great.
part.
He's got.
He still nails being Shaft.
Yeah, he's perfect for the role. It's just like what he has to deal with a little bit. So, it's Samuel L. Jackson in a comedy. You know, it's not Samuel L. Jackson. It's not Shaft 2000, where he's mostly he throws a little funny one-liner here and there, but he's mostly about kicking butt. Like, no, that's not Shaft in this.
That was a good movie too.
It really was.
But man, Jesse Usher, I didn't hate him in this, but he was definitely a bit of a weak spot for me.
Overall, he was just the over the top square. Like, that was it.
Yeah, I know that's kind of the problem. Like, I liked his dynamic better with his dad than say what we got with Die Hard with the father-son dynamic.
Yeah.
But it still kind of highlights the problem that can happen with a father-son dynamic.
Mm-hmm.
It's nowhere near Indiana Jones and Henry Jones.
Oh,
one of my favorite father-son dynamics in film.
No, it's nowhere near that bad, but like you said, it definitely has those moments where like, oh, that could have been so much better.
And I got really annoyed because they advertised the hell out of that Richard Roundtree's going to be in this. He's not really in this.
Uncle Shaft.
I know, except he's also Grandpa Shaft.
Yeah. They threw that little quip in there to fill in the void, to fill in that big plot hole, and it like really like if you didn't know about it, you would have no idea what they were talking about. Like, why was this man pretending he was his uncle?
It was a weird. Like, I appreciate them addressing the plot hole, but at the same time,
they did a very bad job of doing it.
I know. Yeah, and thankfully Richard Roundtree was pretty great. He was
absolutely phenomenal. Like, my eyes were glued to the screen anytime he was on. Like, he did a great job. I love that it was and this is a minor spoiler at the end. He gets into a fight with one character, and it's like, oh, we're both out of bullets. Okay, let's do it old school. We're gonna fight We're gonna throw hands here, and the dude pulls out a knife. It's like, okay, man, we're trying to keep it legit here. Why are you gonna try to cheat? And don't expect me to be able to take you out too. Like, just great stuff. Like, I enjoyed his minor moments on screen. I did enjoy.
Oh no, because Richard Roundtree is a really underrated actor.
Very much so.
Like, yeah, no, it's really disappointing because even if you go into it expecting more of a comedy, just a good chunk of the comedy isn't that good.
No, it really isn't. It's very, very shallow. It's like the bare minimum of what you expect from a comedy.
I did appreciate the mosque joke. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh yeah, I got you. I'm with you on that. That was good.
I mean, it like, you know what? There's a lot of ways they could have done this. This was actually kind of funny.
It really was.
But no, it was unfortunately pretty skippable. Which is a
that's
bummer.
the sad part. Like, out of all the movies we talked about, I think it was the best, and even then, that was like barely mediocre.
Well, yeah, because it was an original film, and it didn't feel pointless.
Right.
It just ultimately was disappointing.
Yes.
Like, because I mean, like I said, Men in Black had no reason to exist.
No.
And Lion King basically had no reason to exist.
No.
As beautiful as it is. Like, that one's probably the best made of all these movies.
Yeah, of all the ones, this is the best cinematic experience.
Yeah, but Shaft had probably the best, actually had a potential point with the narrative, but it didn't understand how to do it, and and a good chunk of the jokes. Like
honestly,
I probably laughed at this more than Men in Black.
Oh yeah, same here. Yeah.
But it still wasn't very strong comedy.
No, I mean, if you're going with like, oh my goodness, what am I going to watch on Netflix tonight, and you just pop this up, like, that would be perfect for Netflix and chill.
Yeah.
Or even more so, like, they cut down on some of the cussing somehow, like they edit out some of it. This would be like a perfect TV cable. This would be a cable movie of the week. Like, that'd be perfect for it. And that'd be it.
Oh yeah, I would probably love this on TBS.
Yeah, that'd be it.
Shout out to TBS. Do they even still exist? You know what?
Yeah, oh yeah.
All right. But, I think we're going to wrap it up. We
ran
a little long,
but... We did it today. Episode 55. Huge one today.
Still under 90, so I'm happy.
Oh, great.
Yeah, no, but this one's definitely long. So, thank you for doing this with me, James.
Oh, yeah, it's always a pleasure.
Yeah, I know you're talking about Shaft.
Oh, you know what I'm also talking about? The merch. Don't forget the merch.
Oh, that's right. We do have to plug this.
We have to. We
have to, and
because you want to be a part of this moment.
Absolutely. So if you are fans of the Pop Tower, be sure to pop over to KwinnPop.com because we now have a store over there, and you can get official Pop Tower merch.
Yes.
And we're not just talking about shirts. We're talking about hats, and we're talking about hoodies.
Yes.
I love it so much. And did you get the catchphrase shirt?
Not yet, but it's a comment. It's a comment.
Yeah, because we're going to get... You haven't said your catchphrase in a while. You should probably say it.
Yeah, I got my Oh Lordy. I'm getting my shirt. I'm getting my Oh Lordy shirt. The Soulful Lordy shirt is coming. I cannot wait.
Yeah, and that is probably... Like, I like the ones we've got already. Because, I think our logo looks pretty good on some of them.
Yeah, I really do. Especially the Pop Tower itself. Like, the actual Pop Tower logo. I love it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But, yeah, like, getting an Oh Lordy shirt, oh, man. That's just going to be, I'm looking forward to it.
I swear, I'm rocking that. That's great.
Yeah, well, I'm probably getting a Pop Tower hat, and I'm
sweeping out the store.
Oh, you're going to go full sweep?
I'm sweeping it out, man.
I get Canadian dollars, so they're not worth the same.
Oh. Now all we need is a Shaft-style coat, and we'll be good.
Yeah. That would be awesome. Well, until that happens, folks, just check out the store. Please visit the website, too. I mean, there's so many great contributors on there, and they talk about stuff earlier than we do. I'm sure I haven't checked yet today, but there's probably a Fire Emblem article up already.
Yeah, I don't think it's up yet, but I know it's coming.
Yeah.
They're such a good team. Like, so many talented writers, so many talented contributors. Incredible website. And that's just not because we're a part of it.
Yeah, no, but legit. Like, I like linking to their articles and everything. I try to do that whenever we post this.
Yeah, same here.
So, yeah, check it out. Well, until next time, folks, just remember, who is the man who wins?